Hi, Church Venture Northwest. My name's Caleb Richardson, and I'm coming to you today from the great state of Alaska. I've been asked to share a video of what God is doing here. So I have two goals for this video today. One is to share what God has been doing in our state, and the second really is to encourage you to partner with us in what God is doing up here and what He might continue to do. So first of all, just what God's been doing. Over 16 years ago, God called me to plant Radiant Fairbanks, but not just to plant Radiant Fairbanks, it was to plant a church that planted churches and to really see churches multiplied across our state. And so, like I said, 16 years ago that happened, and we launched and began to also work with helping other churches launch. And we have seen now, we're at 5 Radiant churches across the state, separated by 1,000 miles. Some of those churches. And so about 4.5 years ago, God called me to hand over the church in Fairbanks and move down to what we call the Mat-Su Valley, which is about an hour north of Anchorage, and start another church. And that church is now called Radiant Mat-Su. And since then, we've seen Radiant Eagle River. But we've also been a part of seeing over 10 churches planted across our state. And in the process of those churches planted, existing churches coming alongside us and saying, hey, can we join you in planting churches across the state? So now we have over 13 churches working together to plant more churches. And so super excited about that. And so what's really happened over the years is that my role has shifted not only from planting churches, but also to coaching other church planters and other churches in the process of planting. And so just super encouraged what God is doing in that area. We want to see more and more churches planted. Here's the reality. We have a state that is just really big. And in that, there are many communities across our state that have no gospel presence whatsoever. And so we're looking for ways that we can continue to multiply that. And we see God moving. And so the second area, that's what God is doing. He's been doing great things. But as we move forward, we're asking God, what do you want next? And so one of the areas, as we have looked at our state, we've been praying for people, places, and provisions. And God, where do you want us to plant next? And who do you want to plant? And how in the world are we going to fund this thing and make it work? So what we're looking for is, at this point, is more and more partners to help us reach more and more people for Christ. And so we're looking, first of all, for qualified planters. So if you are that person and you feel like God may be nudging you to Alaska, we'd love to talk. And maybe your church can be part of surfacing potentially another planter. We have churches right now that are saying, hey, we'd like to plant, but we don't have a qualified person. We don't have anybody right now that we feel like we can raise up and send out. So if you know of that people like that have maybe have a heart for Alaska, we would love to talk with you. And then secondly, probably the larger majority of people, we need more and more people to join us in prayer for Alaska and for what God might do. And then to help us with funding these plants. When we're talking about a space, an area that is really spread apart, and it takes a lot of money to begin to plant these churches because they're in remote locations. And so we just asked that we're looking for partners that would have a long-term vision of seeing churches in the Great North established and raised up. So, so if you would just consider being a partner with us, you can reach me anytime. I would love to chat with you on ways, maybe more specific ways that you can be involved. But we're looking for the churches in Church Venture to say, hey, we want to join you in what you're doing. So, hey, we love being a part of Church Venture Northwest and look forward to partnering with you. And just thanks for your time. May God's kingdom grow.